Uh-oh, we live.
Billy is locked outside. He's having a fit. Make
How
sure
old
you put
are
it
you?
on Facebook too.
What?
Outside, he's having a fit.
There you go. How old is Billy, man?
Billy is only 6 months old.
Really? He's just a little baby then.
He thinks he's the man. Good seeing you, my brother.
It is fantastic to see you, sir. Happy to be here. Happy to be alive.
I'm gonna blast this out on Twitter. I gotta figure out a way to get this thing automatic.
Is that cool if I got more light coming in?
Let me see. Talk.
Hey, man, how you doing?
That looks good right there.
Okay.
1 second. I'm still not ready yet. You know what? I'd like to know too, Ronnie, man, if you don't mind. For my round-uppers, I like to know your process when somebody comes and sits down. I would love to be on the fly on the wall to see you in action.
Come to work with me when you get here.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, you can be here. I planned on bringing you to the office so you could YouTube and whatever.
Yeah, we'll do a joint there. Matter of fact, it'll be Friday. We'll do the Friday thing there.
I talked
I
to my
was,
real estate buddy for you. I got a realtor for you to talk to. He's like, the foreclosure houses stay on the market for like 1 day out here. And the average foreclosure is like 250,000. So
now, don't forget, Ronnie, we use foreclosure loosely in our society.
well, I don't know.
The
Okay.
foreclosures I'm talking about are the ones where people are home, ain't paid their mortgage in 7 months, and we're showing up like, Miss Smith, how can I help you?
Oh, you're okay. Before it
Now,
gets there, it goes on the list.
he may be referring to a bank REO that's already gone through the foreclosure process. He might be.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, we'll figure that out though. We'll get that right.
Okay.
Class, my rounduppers, party people, what's going on? Thank you for joining my brother and I, me and my brother. How was it? Yeah, thank you for joining me and my brother. Trying to get my grammar down.
What's up, everybody?
Ronnie Haskins. Our goal is to raise your financial literacy. Raise the financial literacy of my fellow mankind through real estate investing and entrepreneurship.
The real estate investing in cars. One of your business
And cars. Yeah, we can do that too.
you ever have.
Let me do this. Today, I gotta pause this thing. I'm looking that. Oh, I gotta check out my hat. Check out my hat. My wife. I gotta thank my wife for my hat too. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel below. Click the like while we're on so you can help us to raise the financial literacy of our fellow mankind. My brother, for my viewers that don't know, is a full-time entrepreneur. Been doing this since the late 1990s, buying and selling cars. He is a car dealer, private car dealer in the Colorado Springs. Ronnie Haskins, what's up?
Hey, man. How you doing, Chris? I have been doing it here for about 20 years, and I know you've been working on real estate for about 15 years in the Tidewater area and about to go nationwide when we get you to Colorado Springs in a month.
That's right. Maybe we'll do it. I was thinking about trying to do some business while we're out there, Ronnie. Let's crunch that down.
Yeah, let's work on it.
All right, class. Thank you for letting us pour into your souls, pour into your financial literacy. Ronnie, today our topic is we're going to talk about our financial futures. And if you've got, hey Rosanna, if you have a question, please type it into the chat box with your city. And if you live in the country or somewhere where no one knows where the hell it is, type in your state too, so we can give you a big up.
Just put in BFE.
What's that? What's BFE?
Somebody else can answer that in the chat box. If you don't know it, Chris.
I'll leave it alone.
Bum freak Egypt, man.
All right. So Ronnie, we were discussing, you and I, as we do. It takes. Remember, if for my people, from around roundupers that don't know. Every hour you look at on YouTube, I promise you, it takes us 4 hours to come up with the content because we want to make sure that we're delivering you the right stuff. So when we're talking about your financial future, you want me to start it, Ron, with the numbers here, or you want to roll with it?
Go ahead, man.
All right. So my brother and I just happen to be in the business of the two biggest purchases that most typical Americans are going to make in their entire lives. I'm in the real estate business, and my brother's in the car business, right?
Houses and cars. Biggest
Yeah.
purchase you're probably making your life.
That's right. So what I wanted to share with everybody was the median household income in America is right now is 60,000. Well, yeah, 60,000. And that's household income. Where I live in the Tidewater area of Virginia, I'm sad to say that it's only 42,000 household income. And what's even, anyway, when you think about taxes, they're taken off of that, it's even lower. So what I've seen over time is incomes over the last 20 years have not gone up. And what pisses me off with our mainstream media is they don't put enough attention on this, and they want to talk about whatever's going on in the Oval Office or who shot who or who's talking about who, but they're not talking about our incomes going up in America, right?
Correct.
But what the problem, I want to paint this picture for you guys. Another problem is the car prices that my brother deals with every day. Found out today from my brother because he's the car master. The average car purchase, new car purchase, is $32,000 in America, and the average house purchase in America is $230,000. So the numbers are going like this, guys. From back in the day, remember when mom and dad bought their house back in the 70s?
$19,000. It was a 2,000 square foot home for $19,000. I grew up in that home and spent like 15, 16 years there. And we had our lot size, because I had to cut that grass, was probably like, I would say, Chris, 7,000 square foot lot. Does that sound about right? Remember that big backyard?
I think it's a little bit bigger, brother.
Yeah, but you know, it was a pretty, and the whole house was brick, and it was $19,000. We never should have sold that house. That house should still be in our names right now.
You're right, man. So that was 30, 40 years ago, right? Housing prices have gone, as we all know, gone through the roof, but incomes have been stagnant. That falls under the stagflation category. Well, we won't get into that today, too. But Ronnie, we wanted to talk about our financial futures. Tell us a little bit some of the things when you're buying your car. Paint this picture for me when you sit down with people. Tell me about something about the finances, what we need to consider.
Well, let's talk about the problem, and we'll talk about the solution a little bit down the line. Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
What I see normally, guys, is, you know, we all have wants and likes that seem to overcome our needs. I'm going to type this in the box. You know, why do we want, or why do we, oh man, something popped up on my screen. Why do we need leather and only want to retire? Why do we need leather in our cars, but only want to retire? And so when I'm dealing with consumers and I'm dealing with my client base, it's very common that everybody that I deal with has a lot of wants and likes.
Okay.
Wants and likes cost a lot of money. And we've all been victim of that, or we've all been sold the idea that we have a dream car that we need to buy, when I'm telling you now, it's just a lie. It is literally just a dream. You don't really need a dream car. So that's the initial problem.
Why do people want, why I've never been a car guy. What is it that makes people want this stuff, right?
Well, there's, we all want to be accepted. We all want to feel loved. We all want to be more than what we are to somebody else. We want to feel
enough.
Like big. Yeah, and it's a happiness thing. It's a much deeper element to it. Like, happiness comes from within, but you keep on buying stuff to make yourself happy, and you never get there. But I see it quite often when we're talking about wants and likes on vehicle purchases.
I bet you do. Wow. So is there a way?
Let me show them the screen. This is where we are right now. $36,000. If you can see my mouse right here.
Can you expand that with your fingers, making the font bigger?
Yeah, hang on a second. I can do it up here.
There you go. That's
yeah,
it.
look at that. See the change? The change is 4.3% right there from January 17 to January 18. The car price went from 27,000 to 29,000 just for Hondas. And so for the industry average, it went from 34.9 to 36.2. So it's gone way up in the past year. And like you said earlier, you know, I'm not hearing a lot of people saying I've got a raise, I'm making more money. That household income median it slowly rises.
Yeah, that's scary. So wants and likes. I never been a car guy. Don't know too much about it, but my wife loves that stuff. So she gets we got all the bells and whistles on her car.
Right.
But you know, when we're talking about our strictly numbers, forget what you like, what you think you want. Is there a certain category that you kind of lead people down to make sure that they get?
Oh, well, my process, Chris. So keep this in mind, guys. If you are going out to buy anything and you're talking to a salesperson and they only want to sell you this, they're just trying to sell you this particular cup without discussing your wants and your needs and your family and how this is going to affect you for the next 5 or 6 years, then you're probably paying too much. You understand? Like if we're always focused on the product, we're probably paying too much money. And I'm a victim of this too. I need a dishwasher right now, and I happen to like Kenmore. And I'm like, well, do I need to research this, or should I just spend $900 for the Kenmore? You know, and so, but I've brought myself into I need to look and talk to people that are more educated about it than me, like my brother Chris, who probably knows which dishwasher I should be buying. So,
Yeah.
you know, when people sit down with me, Chris, it's about, you know, they come to me two different ways. They either want me to get them exactly what they want, and they're already sold on it, and I have to do nothing but give them a price. So I'm like, here's your price, $72.5 for an Escalade. The majority of my clients sit down with me at this desk, and they want advice on what they should be doing. And since I've been doing it 20 years, I can help you understand your future, your financial future with your automobiles real quickly. And I can help predict what's going to happen to you over the next 12 years, 3 different automobiles. And
Gotcha.
yeah, to my clients, that's much more important than just buying a $32,000 car today.
Cool. There's something else you wanted to drop on the problem before I get into this amortization versus renting, buying stuff?
Okay, so there's a problem out there that is really crazy to me. I think people, when we're talking about lifting their financial literacy, do you know your own credit score? Do you know what's on your credit report? We'll get a little bit later into how to find out how to get that information, but ask yourself, do you know what's on your credit report right now today? And do you know what your credit score is? And if not, why don't you? All of us, we should be looking at this stuff on a daily basis or monthly basis.
So are we going to talk about how they do that now, or that's going to be later?
Later on, I can show them some how-tos. I got some screens up, so for some free places they can go check out their own credit report.
Well, for my rounduppers that are still renting, my brother had to take a hammer and knock me in the head about 3 months ago about this rent versus buy. I'm a real estate guy to the death. You know, you can't. I know real estate works. It has saved my butt probably 10 times. You know, if something happens to me, I can always go sleep in it. If I need money, I can go refinance it. If I can't refinance it, I can sell it. If it needs to be fixed up, I can go get a credit card and fix the roof on it and then sell it.
It's an actual asset. It's an asset.
Yeah, if I want, if I want to rent it out and pay me money every month for somebody else to live in it, I could go on and on. I could do Airbnb, rent out the rooms. I could live in it and rent out the room. I can go on. But my brother took a hammer, knocked me in the head, and was like, "Chris, you got to get this house stuff out of your house. I'm sorry, owning versus renting out of your mind when it comes to a depreciating liability." Ronnie, go.
Correct. I'm typing it up. You need to talk because I didn't know you're going to put me on the spot right here. But I'm gonna show them in a diagram exactly what I showed you. So
Okay.
let me type it up.
My brother is like, Chris, you got to stop thinking about like an owner. And I'm getting some hats made right now, Ronnie, that have owner on the front. And I feel bad, man, because I don't own my car. But, let me get over it. Let me get over that, because owning a depreciating asset is a challenge that I struggle with. So Ronnie came to me and was like, look, dude, here's the numbers. You're owning a car versus leasing it. Owning a car versus leasing. He showed me. And we're gonna do owning versus leasing houses and cars, rent or own. So on the real estate side, let's just say your rent is $1,000 a month, right?
Yep, I'm with you. I'm typing this up so I can help them and show them in a few minutes.
Yeah, you're gonna do the car. Your rent on your house is $1,000 a month, and I just want to make this easy for you. And I know I'm gonna simplify it and boil it down so you can understand it like a 2-year-old, because I don't want to complicate it. $1,000 a month. We work for 40 years in our life, right?
Yep.
We work for 40 years in our life. We pay 40 years of rent. At the end, when we're ready to retire, we own no asset. We own nothing. Now, however, we did have some place to live for those 40 years. But when you are renting, when you own, you know what? Let me rewind that. Let's just do 30 years, because we're doing a 30-year AM. You pay $1,000 for your mortgage. You own it in 30 years. 30 years. No mortgage. No mortgage, right? So you pay your mortgage off in 30 years. You get to live for free for the next 10 years until you retire. Let's say the typical working years are from 20 to 60, right? You're going to work. That's why I had started with 40. We typically work from 25 to 65, right? That's just the average. Just for the averages, guys. I know you got people living to 90 and people starting working at 16.
I'm talking about the healthy working years, like you're predicted that you can look at it and go, this is the average. Correct.
Yes. For your future, what I want to stress to everybody is, if you are renting, and this is just my philosophy, and you guys take it with how you want to take it. 30 years at least you own your mortgage, and after you own your house, after you pay it off after that 30 years, you can take that $1,000 and do something else with it. Rent the house out, because Social Security and Medicare is not going to be as active as it is for our generation, right?
Right. I don't even plan on getting it.
I'm glad you said that. Me neither, dude. My retirement is my real estate. I don't even plan on getting it. So this is rent versus buy. You own the asset, which you can live in it, right? You did stick some money into it over the years, but you've planned to own that house. You've made a plan to own it at the end of 30 years. Or in my case, we own them faster because we pay them down quicker, and you can do the same.
Yeah.
So Ryan, you wanted to? Are you ready? Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this owning versus car thing. Go.
Okay, so guys, I have this thing that I've been learning and listening to. We have lots of wonderful people in our lives that give us life advice, and they help us through things, and they help us see the world in a better light. But we need people around us when it comes to money that have real world experience. They are very good with managing their money and investing and doing different types of things with their money besides spending it. I don't need advice.
Consume.
Right. I don't need a consumer mentality. And I'm a believer in paying off your debt. I am. But I'm also a big believer, and this is my philosophy. This isn't an end all. This is just one way to look at it. But I don't like maintenance and repairs. I don't like wondering if my car is going to work. I don't like that type of stuff. And so, I have an exact example for you on a $31,000 car. This is my wife's car. I do this for her. Our plan is to do it every 3 years. Keep in mind, I'll put her in this car every 3 years. We only have to change the oil twice a year and put gas in it. We won't even have this car long enough to put the first set of tires on it. So I can predict exactly what I'm going to spend over 36 months, which makes me feel really good, because then I can be disciplined. And that's the issue, is you got to be disciplined to take the money that you would be spending on other things and put it in the marketplace, put it into real estate, or do whatever you're going to do. So let me share with you the screen. This is the program that I showed Chris. So if you see here, this is just a simple lease explanation. Regular loan on a $31,000 car with no money down is going to cost you $628 a month at around 4% interest rate for those that are fact checking. And if you do the math, that times 60 months is 37.7 over 5 years. So this will be your total outgo just for the car payment and the interest. That doesn't include what happened around here, year 3, when you had to put tires on the car and you had to do a brake job and you had to do a windshield and you had to do who knows what you had to do. So you'll probably spend more than 37.7 for the joy of owning your car. If you look at that same car, and this is my wife's deal, you know, $31,000 car, no money down, the payment's $350 a month, which equals 12.6 over 3 years. $12,600 over 3 years. Now here's the magic. If I do it 3 times in a row over 9 years, I'll spend 37.8 compared to 37.7 over 9 years. And I can almost guarantee it, Chris, because I'm not doing tires. I'm not doing brakes. I'm only changing the oil 6 times every 3 years. And so look at the math, guys. That's a great explanation for why certain people lease versus own. Owning cars, they all depreciate to zero. If I came to you today and says, I need 10 grand out of your bank account, in 5 years, I'm going to give you nothing. That's what your car does to you every time. Look at it. Look outside your window right now. Your car is actually depreciating as we are talking right now. So, you know, if you have questions about that and you want to dig further into it and look at some solutions, here's the email. Send me an email here. And once again, this is just my philosophy. I've been doing this 20 years, and so it's just my philosophy. But if you got questions about it, or if you're worried about it, or you just want explanations, email me here, and I will get back to you, or we can set up a phone conversation. I'll help you through that.
Ronnie, if your philosophy has changed the mind of a real estate guru, changed the mind of a real estate master, I think that is worth something, brother. Not just because you're my brother.
Let's look at what people say about it. You know, they're like, well, I don't want to lease because I'm not going to own. I'm like,
that's exactly what I said.
Well, I'm like, you know, we use Xfinity. You probably use Cox Cable or whatever. I don't own Cox Cable, but my cable bill is like $220 a month with internet and everything. It's like I'm paying for the service, guys. You know, I don't have enough money to buy Cox Cable, but either way, I mean, it's like owning the car is just an idea that's been sold to you. It's not something you have to do.
Wow, that is so gangster. And you know, my accountant was telling me I could write off, as long as it's being used for business, I could write off the payment. You could either write off the miles or the payment, and it ended up being the same write-off whether I owned the car or I didn't own it, Ronnie.
Let me give you an even better example. I had a guy 2 days ago call me and says, I gotta help my 20-something-year-old daughter. I gotta help her. She's got a bad situation going on. I need to get like an $8,000 car. And I was like, oh my goodness, man, you're talking about you're going to be attached to this car for 5 or 6 years, because not only is it going to be $8 grand out of your pocket right now, but it's going to be like transmissions and brakes and all of this stuff. And so I got him a brand new car for $250 a month. It's a Jetta.
Oh my Lord.
A brand new Jetta, right? So for $250 a month, do the math. 250 times 36 is $9,000. But he's got full factory warranty. He's got all of his stuff. His daughter needs to be ready, so in 3 years she can be able to walk on her own. But, you know, it's a good solution for, you know, being able to predict exactly what you're going to spend instead of having all these unknown risk factors that you have in your life when it comes to an old used car.
Let me tell you about unknowns too, Ronnie, in the real estate world. I get a lot of my coaching clients, when they have a tenant, right, that may or may not be paying rent.
Yeah.
For me, it's always best for me to have an empty house, because at the end of the day, if I want my tenant gone, because I can type in the amount that I'm going to lose that month, as opposed to them tearing up my house, right? So they might be in there pouring cement down in the toilet, punching holes in the walls, right? I'm not talking about a tenant that you know you're going to work with. You know, some people you try to work with them as much as you can. I mean, people that are purposely not paying the rent, trying to drag you out. Listen, I want them gone. Don't even worry about rent, because I can't type in the calculator what my losses are going to be. However, when it's empty, vacant, I know I'm not getting anything, but I know nothing's happening to it. So we were saying how important it is to be able to literally type in a calculator to say this is what it's going to be. Bam, nothing more, nothing less.
Numbers don't lie. The numbers do not lie. We don't like to look at the numbers. All of us, we don't like to look at them because they bring it all in perspective. You know, I'm not investing enough. I'm probably paying too much for my car. I probably didn't need the leather. So when you don't want to think about it, it doesn't go away, but it's just sitting outside. You know, so I mean, we're just trying to get people to think a little bit more, and make some better choices. That's all.
Nice, cool. Well, that sounds good to me, Ron. I think that's a good 30 minutes for today, my brother.
Well, let me show them a solution. So when I talked earlier, I was like, you should know your own credit score. Well, this site won't give you your credit score, but it will tell you what's on your credit, and it's free. You can go to this site once a year. It's called annualcreditreport.com. You can go there. These guys do not pay me. It's been up for a long time, but you can go in there, type in your information, and it'll show you exactly what's on your credit. There's nothing worse than having a lender tell you what's on your credit. You should know what's already on your credit. So pull your head out of the sand, go fill it out, and you can print it off and take a look at it, and then you can start making decisions on how you're going to repair it or how you're going to work on it.
Yeah. It is challenging because the easy way out, Ronnie, is to just ignore it.
This problem's going to go away?
Well, I tell you, before I started my retirement account back in 2005, the only reason I did because I've said this story before, I had an old rich white man that said, Chris, you need to do this. I met with somebody yesterday. I asked her about her retirement, and she was like, I don't even know what's in it. I'm only 25. I'm not retiring for 40 years.
Right.
You know, so it's like, it's challenging. And I admire people that can just sit down and, you know, literally look at the future, because I didn't learn how to do that till later. Were you doing that as a young age, thinking about?
I was a consumer at a young age. I had a motorcycle, Range Rover.
You had a couple motorcycles.
I know. I was all into consumerism. And so that's what we're telling people that are listening. It's like, we're not preaching this stuff because we just want to hear ourselves speak. It's like we've had some experiences that were setbacks and failures, and we're trying to give this information back so that you can make a better choice. You know?
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. I wish I would have been leasing a car, man. I don't know how many thousands of dollars I've spent on repairing a car. How many hours have I lost sitting in a daggone repair shop, dude? You know, when I could have been out there doing the deal.
I love it, man. I mean, I'm never going to own another brand new car. I mean, it's always going to be just whatever. And your budget goes up and down. I mean, I could go with a less expensive car next time. I could go with a more expensive car next time, you know, but I have no interest in owning a car that I've got to take the risk on for 6-7 years until I try to sell it. And then we all, you know, get sympathetically attached to it. We're like, it's worth this. And they're like, no, it's not. It's worth this, you know.
It's like with a house.
Well, at least you can make money on a house. I mean, I'm in the industry, and I tell you, it's difficult, you know, making money if you're not a car dealer. You know,
I would not want to go against your 20 years experience, dude. I'm like, it's a no-brainer to listen to somebody that's already did it, you know. And I have a lease now. I'm very proud. Thanks to my brother. All right, anything else you want to cover, Ronnie?
No, I think that's it, man. Do you have questions for people? I see Rosanna. So what does it say, Rosanna?
Nick, what up, Nick? Enterprise, hey. Low Enterprise. Daniel? What's up, brother? Hampton. Lakia, hey, I met you last night. See, we got any questions? Or we got Ray? Who's Nene says everything's going up but their wages. Yes, that's how it works.
Who's Nene says, is it better to lease or buy a car? It's definitely dependent on the situation, but you should definitely investigate it. And so
you can help me with that, can't you, Ronnie? You can at least, you can answer questions.
So okay, so basically,
not now. I mean, she can contact you and you can look at her numbers, right?
Yeah, here. If you have questions about what's best for you, email me here and I'll let you know. This doesn't mean I'm going to sell you a car, guys. It just means I'm going to help you and advise you. So if you got a question about it, let me know. It's free. I'll email you back and let you know exactly what I think. I can't guarantee you like what I have to say, because I'm real honest about it. I'm like, look, you should probably be leasing a car and doing 20,000 miles a year on your lease, and then deal with this later and paying off debt or whatever the case may be. But yeah, if you got a question about it, just email me right here, and I will get back to you about any leasing versus buying questions.
Where else can you go talk to a dealer that's not worried about selling you a car to make their quota? Ronnie's quota is already made. I mean, he's gonna sell X amount of cars this month, whether you email him or not. I promise you.
Yeah.
That's why it makes it easy doing business with you. Because I mean, I don't care if I sell you a car or not. I get to know you a little bit. If I can help you,
That's the thing. If I can add value to your life and it's a win-win situation, I'm all in. But if it's some people just need advice, they don't need me to really sell them anything. Yeah, well, who's Nate? I'm dealing with a repo on my car. Was paying $8,000 on a car that was 11 years old. Is that repo or repair? I don't understand that one. So if you're already paying on a car, you got to wait till after the fact. Well, no, you can still trade in your car on a lease. So like, let's say you owe $10,000 on your car, the car's worth $8,000. You can transfer that $2,000 to a lease. It makes the payment go up, but in 3 years you won't owe anybody. So there's lots of questions about this lease stuff that we could really dig into via email. Just shoot me an email and I can talk you through it.
Yeah, is that a pay? That's on you, Ronnie. I don't know that one.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, like people don't know. I mean, here's the thing, guys. You see these commercials out there, right? $39.99 down, and you can drive a Lexus for $340 or $399 a month. We all see them. The leases that I do don't require any money down. But Lexus won't advertise a car with $0 down because the payment would be $800. So they you're just buying the payment down with the cash down.
Yeah.
Not smart. If you only if you got $4,000 tax return and you're like, I can drive this Lexus for $400 a month, bad move, because 3 years from now you're going to need that $4,000 again in order to get that payment. So you should look to find cars you can lease that require zero money down. That's the best way to do it, hands down.
Gotcha. Yeah, we did. I just wanted my payment down, right? I'm guilty of doing that, but I mean, I knew I wanted my payment to be a certain number every month so I could punch it in my calculator for my cash flow.
Yeah.
But we got cash around that, I guess with this dispensable cash to put that down.
Well, as long as you understand that, next time around, you're going to need the cash again, or sometimes you look at a different car. I mean, this is not about falling in love with the car. Forget about falling in love with the car. It needs to be comfortable, work within your budget, get you to where you need to go. That's really about it. That's all the needs. The other stuff is wants and likes.
Yeah, for me, it was comfort. I wanted a brand new car for $300 a month. I was tired of the bumps with the older cars that I've been driving all my life.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, I want a new car, brand new, everything, and it rides like it's on air.
Right.
Thank you. SS, if you're already paying on a lease, will you have to wait to after or SS, is that a lease or are you paying on a car purchase? That would be for Ronnie. I don't know. Let us know on that. Mr. Desire, working on being a landlord, and the one thing holding me back right now is your credit score. Well, we have two ways of looking at this. I don't know if the car business has a no credit type of deal. Well, if credit is important when you're in your financial future, what we're talking about today. But Mr. Desire, real estate, it's in a whole nother world. Credit score is just one dilemma, but I mean, we can talk about more on that on another topic, I think. Ronnie, I shouldn't go too deep into that on this one, should I?
I mean, your credit score, he's talking about being a landlord. Your credit score does matter in the car world. They don't have a way to no credit purchase a vehicle unless you're doing a buy here, pay here, which typically is a completely different thing.
Yeah. You want to be a landlord, yes, your credit is going to be challenging. I don't. Rosanna, one issue.
Question. You mean, if you own a house and want to be a landlord, and the people you're trying to get to rent your house out have challenged credit? Is that what he's talking about?
I don't know. Mr. Desire, if you want us to help you with that, be a little bit more descriptive in the bottom. Rosanna, one issue I have is the mileage limits on a lease. That is a good point. What's the usual penalty on that, Ronnie?
Okay, so I did a lease yesterday. They're going to do 15,000 miles a year on this particular one. And the mileage penalty is 20 cents per mile at the end of the lease. I do have clients that do up to 25,000 miles a year for their leases. Now, you're going to get people, like I was talking about earlier, the people that give us advice and are fanning our flames. If you're driving 20,000 miles a year and purchasing a car for 72 months, you're going to drive all the value out of that car in 2 to 3 years. You will always be upside down. So you have to find a vehicle that fits within your budget at 20 or 25,000 miles a year that you can afford. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean the ones with the leather and the sunroofs, because you add my wife's car's 350, but it's 12,000 miles a year. If it was 15,000 miles a year, it's about $15 more a month. So not much, but we didn't need it. But so when you start getting more mileage, it's actually, you're making my point. You should be leasing a car. You just maybe can't lease the one you really want to drive.
20 cents a mile. Can you pay for that up front?
Well, that's what you did. You did an 18,000 mile a year lease. That's what they call paying for it up front. They just build it into the lease, and the payment goes up from what it would have been at 12,000 miles a year. And so it's about 15 cents. So on the back end, it's about 20 cents. It depends on the car, though. Some of them are 25 cents.
Gotcha.
But still, it's still stuff you can put in your calculator and budget for. Instead of going, I shouldn't lease, you should go, well, I'm going to drive 5,000 miles over times 20 cents. That's $1,000, right?
Yeah.
So basically, budget for it, plan for it. You can put it in there and get it taken care of.
Gotcha. The short stuff talk says, what if she does a lease and down the line she figures out she can't afford it?
That's no different than the car loan. So you did the car loan that was going to be $200 more a month than the lease. Let's say you're in a car loan that's 5 years, right? That's typical in America. And you get 2 years into it and you're like, I can't afford it anymore. Now you're going to have to suffer a repossession, a bankruptcy, whatever the case may be. It is no different than a lease. It's the same type of loan. They're set up almost identically. So I mean, there's really no way.
But Ronnie, aren't we? You know what? I've always bought cars cash. Never thought about any of this stuff. Aren't we spending the money even if we don't know it? I'm like, when you pointed out the repairs that I was spending that I had never even thought about, because I might go 3 months or 4 months without a repair, but then I'd have $1,000 repair. I mean, aren't we going to spend the money whether on any car?
Christopher, with a K and an F. It is so funny because I will have people, they're like, I haven't had a payment in 2 years. I'm like, give me your repair bills. I guarantee you, if you take that stack of repair bills and divide it by 12, it equals about $200 to $250 a month, because you had tires that were $1,000. You had this, you had that. Oh my goodness, my windshield wipers didn't work that weekend. I had to spend $300 on something, some motor, power window. So yeah, that's a very common misconception in your mind.
Yeah.
But I would like to talk about a better. She said, "What if I can't afford it?" And this is kind of, look at the title of this video. Let's look at your financial future. So I think it was, I don't know who asked that question, but
Short Stuff Talks.
Short Stuff Talks. We should be looking at your financial future when it comes to setting up your car loan far before you ever get to the point where you can't afford it. And those are tough questions. You're like, I really like this car. I like this car. I want to buy it. But what if I can't afford it in 2 years? Don't buy it. Don't lease it, buy it, or pay cash for it. It's like, well, cash is no payments. But either way, it's like, these are questions we should be asking ourselves before we enter into the contract. Is this something I can budget for if everything goes wrong? It's a mindset, a way of living. So I'm glad you said that, because that was super important.
So John Hunter says, hey, what's up, John? Where you at, by the way, John? What if you do a lot of driving? Ronnie just covered that. We just bought some more miles. I think it was $600 or something.
Yeah, you can get the lease on most cars. You can set it up to 30,000 miles a year. Some of the real inexpensive cars cap you at like 25,000. But once again, if you got a question about that directly, email me. And I see Mr. SR has asked if he should lease a car in his corporation's name. Once
Yeah.
again, go back to the video title, look at your financial future. Talk to your accountant. Seriously, I'm not authorized to advise you if you do it in a corporate name. I have clients that do, but after they've discussed it with their accountant and they've made a financial decision instead of a hypothetical one. So Mr. SR or Miss SR, I would say definitely talk to your accountant about that.
You know, I talked to mine, Ronnie, before I did mine. I talked to my accountant right when I was doing the lease, brother. You know, when we were talking.
Yeah, yeah.
And she told me exactly about what I could write off, what I couldn't. And what I found out was the insurance is a little more challenging when when the owner or the owner of that lease is a company. And I don't know if my viewers being, I don't know if where you're at in your company, how many employees you have. For me, it's, I run a small operation, big dollar business though. So I didn't want to have commercial insurance on it. I wanted to just have regular personal insurance. That was for my aspect.
You're exactly right. That's why his question is so difficult, because I don't understand the entire picture, and you've got to talk to your own accountant about it, and that's a personal decision.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Desire is talking about his personal credit. When he applied for the loan, the bank denied him because his credit score was not 20. That's for a real piece of real estate. I guess that's going to be for me. Well, Mr. Desire, in another time and place, we can talk about real estate with no money down. There is a world that exists, not in this video, where we don't worry about credit scores in real estate. We don't have to turn in tax returns. We don't have to turn in bank statements. We don't even worry about a credit score at all. And they don't even care any of that. We don't even submit a bank application to a bank.
Wow.
You can buy houses like that, brother. And there is a world that exists that I've got 350 videos. We talk about it on my channel. And just email me if you want to know more about that stuff. But yes, that world exists. I'll put my email down here. Ronnie, I love talking about that world too, man. There's a world that exists. All right. Hi.
You see what King David said? He wants us to do a video on subject to on a car lease. So
oh yeah,
experience. I mean, there are companies out there, Chris, that you can find, and they have lists of stuff that like people are getting out of their leases or they want to get rid of the cars. Like for instance, the lady that asked the question earlier, like, I can't afford the car anymore. So there's some people that will let you assume the payments and take over the lease, but it's still in their credit. I don't have any experience with it, so I have never done a subject to on a lease. I'm in a business where we actually do the transaction. So
maybe we could, Ronnie, I think that would be something that we could possibly do some research on.
We could do some research and do a video and talk about it without a doubt. I mean, that's not a problem.
I think that's a good one. Well, I don't want to talk about it because I have zero experience with that one. King David, you got us thinking.
Mr. Desire 3 says, can you buy the car if you so choose to after the lease is done? That is a wonderful question. So like on this particular deal here, it is in writing. They give it to you in writing up front. So when you sign for your lease, you already know what you have to pay for that car after 3 years. On my wife's deal, it's a set number. It doesn't go up or down. If you so choose to purchase it, you can do that at the end of the lease. Now, you haven't paid taxes on that, so you're going to have to add wherever you live, whatever they charge for taxes, you're going to have to pay taxes on it. But that's another thing. People are like, well, I can lease it to get a smaller payment now and then buy it later. I'm like, we don't do layaway. Don't get out of that mindset. If your goal is to own the car, then figure out a way to own it, have no payments for 5 or 6 years besides repairs, and keep it for as long as you can. Now, I'm all for that if you're looking to do it the cheapest way possible. But yeah, you're absolutely right. If you lease a car today, Chris, in his paperwork, it's written right in there, purchase amount at end of lease. So you can do that if you choose.
But I want to talk to who was that did that one? Who was that, Ronnie? Mr. Desire.
Mr. Desire.
Mr. Desire. I'm real estate to the death, my brother. I hope I can just speak to you, brother. I've been driving cars cheaper cars, under $10,000 I've been paying cash for my entire life, right? And I'm feeling it now in my body, driving around the bumps and all that. Now I got my lease. I don't feel any bumps, and you can't put a dollar on comfort or a value on comfort, right, Mr. Desire? I don't know where you're at with your finances and everything, but for me, I was already spending the same amount of money getting beat the hell up driving around that I'm spending now riding in luxury on a 2018 car.
Because you thought you needed to own it.
That's right, because I thought my states, like Tony Robbins says, my states is we're owners. We don't rent. I had to change my thinking. That's why I talked to an expert, my brother. I'm telling you, the guy knows what the hell he's talking about. So I'm like, man, I don't rent. We don't rent. The people I hang out with, we own stuff. Player, who you talking to? So when I talked to my brother, broke it down. He's like, look, dude, you're already spending X dollars. It took me a while. My brain overnight, I could feel my brain mushing up as he was telling me. I'm like, you know what? I'm spending the same amount of money getting beat up. When I say beat up, I'm 40 now, so I kind of feel the bumps in the road a little. I pay attention to them. But now I'm riding on air with the exact identical amount of money. Yes, I pay it every month. But before I was, I had no payment for 4 months. Then I have $1,000 or a $1,200 thing whack me.
Look at this, Chris. This is the very first M5. M5 isn't that ultra rare, but that's an all-wheel drive M5. It was the very first one ever in Colorado Springs. That is right in front of my office. Gave it to a client, $128,000 car. That guy leased that car. No interest in owning it. We're talking to him. It's like, I don't want to own this. Like he makes way more money. And he's like, yeah, no interest in owning it. No interest.
Wow.
It's a depreciating asset. I'd rather take my money and put it elsewhere so it can grow and come back to me. Like that car, and you can see it again, it is super pretty, but at the end of the day, it is only going to cost you money. It is never going to give you money back. You're never going to start it up and be like, hey, you can use me for less gas today. never going to happen.
All right, let's keep moving. John Hunter, you email me. You got you're looking for off-market properties. Okay, yeah, we can talk about that. Africa Queen has never heard of a subject to on a house, on a car either. Neither have I. Low end price says she still wants to pay cash for a car, and that's fine.
That's great. I like that. But have a plan. Once again, we're talking about looking at your financial future. I have people that buy cars for cash, right? And they have no payments for a while. But I asked them, what's your plan when this car dies? What's your plan when we get a hailstorm or a hurricane where you guys are? It's like you got to have a plan. You can't just start believing that you're never going to have a car payment. It's like that payment doesn't mean that you have a loan. It means that you got repairs and you got things of that nature. Somebody hits you. So that's great. That is actually the cheapest way to purchase a car. I am all for it as long as you plan it. But the reason why we're talking about this is because the people that can pay cash for cars and keep them for long periods of time are very small. It's great to talk about. We all want to talk about it, but I'm trying to give everybody a better solution for predicting how much you're going to spend for 5, 6, 12 years. So that's all. But low end price, good for you. Pay cash, keep it for a while, do your repairs. Absolutely the best way to do it if you can afford to do that.
Yeah, if you're paying cash, for me, it's like I don't want to drive any more older cars. Low end price, I'm just done with the way they feel. I just don't like the way it feels.
I just don't want to do maintenance, man. I don't want to do tires and maintenance, so I'm like $350 a month. I'm good to go.
Done. Yeah. John Hunter wants to talk about rent-to-own deals. John, that's going to be Wednesday with Eddie. We go over our more real estate deals Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Africa Queen. Trying to take all the knowledges. Praise God. Rosanna. Chris, what is the name of the book you suggested to read? Well, I got to say, Rosanna, oh my goodness. That sounds like a question back when I was in college. Let me tell you real fast. When I was in college, there was one particular student who used to study in my group. And she'd fall asleep when I study groups, Ronnie, overnight, right? She'd fall asleep. And Rosanna, I'm just giving you a hard time. The next morning she'd say, right before the test, she go, now, what do you think we need to? What do you think's on this test? We'd all go, everything.
Oh man.
Like, you got to know everything. Well, Roseanne, I don't know what book. What book were we talking about earlier, Ronnie? I don't know.
The 4 Hour Work Week. That's the latest one I've been working on that you told me to read.
Yeah, Ronnie, tell me what revelations you've had when you're listening. Oh wow, great segue. Then we're gone.
I've only
The
got a
new
third of
rich.
the book.
Huh?
Relative income. That's
The
like one
new
of the
rich.
biggest things. You know, a person that makes $500,000 a year could actually per hour make less than someone who makes $50,000 a year because of relative income. How many hours? I mean, that person making 50,000 is only at the office 1 hour a week. And so the person making 500,000, like LeBron James per game, you know, how many hours a week does he put into shooting hoop? You know, so his relative income could be $50 an hour. So I thought that was super intriguing, and I can't wait to get more through that book so we can talk about it some more.
I'm so glad you're the new rich, Ronnie. The new now what when you are you to the part about the new rich yet?
Yeah, he's used it, and now he just uses NR for the term, but it's just a mindset. I'm still. It's a tough read for me because when I do get time to read, I'm usually tired, so I'm trying to focus in, and I only get to put in like 30 minutes at a time.
Yeah. And it was so tough for me. I bought the audiobook, but I'm 42. You're 40. How old are you, Ronnie? 49, 48?
I will be 49 November the 4th.
49. Okay. So our brains, Ronnie, unfortunately, they're shaped a certain way for doing something for so long, right? Hours work, hours pay.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. It's like you get put in this box, and that's what you think your reality is until you look at something else. And that's why we're talking about the leasing. It's like, I'm not saying that you have to do it. All I'm saying is don't just wipe it off the table without actually understanding it for yourself. You know, I don't want to convince you to do it. I just want you to be able to look at different options for your life.
Nice. Uh-oh, my thing is messing up. Oh, 4 hour work week. I was saying, it's my screen.
Mr. Desire has a question. He goes, does leasing reflect on your credit score? So, Mr. Desire, it's actually easier to get you approved for a lease on certain cars than it is to get a loan on them. And yes, it does work on your credit. So I'll have people that have 21-year-old kids, and the parents are like, I'm going to buy them an $8,000 car. I'm like, no, add them to the lease. And in 3 years, they'll have such good credit that they'll be able to lease their own car or purchase their own car at that point in time. So your credit is affected. It's an installment loan, and it has an ending, and it's high credit. It's over $10,000. So that's a great question, Mr. Desire. You should, if you're having any kind of challenges, purchasing a car, doing things of that nature, look at leasing. It may not be a car you want to drive, but it will do a job of getting you where you need to go and repair your credit if you make the payments on time in 3 years.
May not be the car. I hear you say that a lot, right? It may not be the car you want. What do you mean by I want my car to feel good and take me where I gotta go? When you say want, does everybody have different wants?
Let me tell you something, my man. I wore Nikes forever because I loved Michael Jordan. I usually wear Adidas now because they are so much more comfortable. I do a lot of running, and I'm like, you know what, man, these don't hurt my feet. Why have I been wearing these Nikes? All right, I got a Nike shirt on, but it's like I was branded for so long and didn't realize that other shoes were comfortable. And as you get older, that starts to matter. You're like, man, my feet hurt. So same thing with cars. Wants and likes, guys, will cost you more money than any type of need that you have. And I got a good example. My wife won't like it, but we're all in love. If you're married, love is time, pain, and money every time, And so whenever you're buying something, you have to question yourself. Do I need this? Or do I just want it and like it and love it? And it's a struggle. It's like a chain, like an addiction.
Resistance.
Yeah.
Pulling resistance. All right. I can't read my screen when I run. Any more questions? And we'll do a final word and we're gone. My screen for some reason shut down.
No, I see it. I don't see any more questions.
Okay.
But yeah, man, this was good stuff. Thanks for talking to me, man.
Last thing I want to leave is if you're still renting, there is a world out there that you don't have to worry about credit report, bank statements, tax returns, financial statement. I want you to get on the owner's side so you can pay your house off. I want some stuff paid off. I'm done with debt. On the house side, we're gonna get to the cars with my brother. On the house side, because once you've paid that off in the future, once you've paid it off in 30 years or faster, then you get to allocate those funds somewhere else, right? And we're talking about the future, not today. When I was 28, I didn't even know I would ever pay off a mortgage. And then when I paid my first one off, it was like, man, this feels good. I paid another one and another one. I started to feel a lot lighter, you know. So over time, this can work. As opposed to if you're renting, you're always got monthly outgo and you're stuck. You got to go somewhere, and you're 60 years old. Matter of fact, I met a guy the other day renting, 65 years old, still renting. Got to go somewhere, right? Doesn't have a home that he owns outright, free and clear. So just look into that.
Cool, right? Man. I like that. I like that.
What do you want to leave for our viewers, brother?
Well, I would just say challenge your thinking. First and foremost, guys, you don't need me to tell you what you want and like versus what you need. And it's a tough one, you know, so question yourself. If you're looking to do better financially, you're looking to be able to invest money, you want to do more stuff with Chris in real estate, you got to start making tougher decisions and stop worrying about what it looks like or feels like. It just needs a car just needs to fill basic needs, get you to where you need, be comfortable. That's about it. Our dads have told us this for years, and I fought against it forever as well. I didn't, you know, listen to anything my dad said. So hopefully a few of you guys will pick it up. But, you know, just start looking at your wants and likes.
Let me leave too, Ronnie. I'm going to let my viewers know that, Ronnie, you and I had lovingly, our father, great father. You know, I like to put this out here. I want people to know that we struggle with things, Ronnie. We don't have it all figured out.
Stop right there.
Childhood, huh?
Stop it. Low end prize. Our dad was you. He would save up and pay everything cash. So yeah, we got told what to do all the time. But go ahead, Chris. But yeah, he was like low end prize. You know, I was like, how do you get that car? Pay cash. You know, but they had to deal with repairs and whatnot.
Yeah, they did. Well, Ronnie and I wanted to say that when people see us on the channel here, they think we all have it all together. You know, I just want you to know that we are struggling with stuff publicly and privately. Prime example is our father struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder our entire lives. We grew up with a dad that had post-traumatic stress disorder, and we didn't even know what that was growing up.
I know. Nobody knew.
We didn't know what it was. So Ryan and I'm in therapy for it now because I have secondary post-traumatic, amongst a whole bunch of other stuff. You know, we're still trying to make it all work. So if you're struggling with something, you know, we are there with you. We are you. We struggle with the same stuff too.
We are all broken. I'm a military vet with verified PTSD. So I mean, like from the war, so plus the stuff from dad. So like, yeah, I think that's very important to let people understand. It's like we are in this together. This is a forum. We like looking at these questions because it actually challenges our thinking. And it's like, you know what? Together, we can come up with the right answers to help many people. That's so, right. Yeah, we don't ever want you to think that we're just preaching like our dad did. But, you know, yeah, we are definitely broken just like everybody else. We just have had a few more failures that we can share with you so you can learn from them.
We probably had a lot more failure. I know I have. Shit, man. I've been fired 7 times, man. Maybe we'll talk about that, too. Have you ever been fired, right?
I think so. I really only had like 2 jobs my whole life. But, I mean, you know, I think so. I almost got fired once, but I walked out. I was like, you're not firing me. I quit. And I walked out the door just like in a movie. I was like, I am not signing that paperwork. You're not firing me. I'm out of here.
All right. Subscribe to my channel, guys. Please like the content. God bless you. Thank you. And the book I want to ask you to read, I'm reading now, which I should have read a long time ago. The Millionaire Next Door. The Millionaire Next Door. He case studied these millionaires over time, Ron, and the car thing came up, and 98% of them, if I'm remembering perfectly, they weren't into cars. They just needed a car to go from A to B, get me where I got to go so I can keep making money. Their primary focus was being wealthy, not trying to look wealthy.
Correct.
Are you being wealthy, or do you want to try to look wealthy?
Right. Yeah, so if you got questions for me specifically, hit me up right here. It won't let me type my .com in there. We're still working on our technology, guys. We'll get this game up later. But if you got questions, hit me up. Be more than happy to talk to you guys. We appreciate you showing up. It's very fun to be with you.
All right, we'll see you next Friday.
All right, man.
All right, peace.
Later on.